Okay, we're here Sunday. We got the Puerto Rican and the Pelon.
Pelon!
We're going to finally fix everything that we should have done the first time.
That's right. That's right.
So we're going to take this car. We're going to add the sleeves that should have came on the H&R springs. We're going to change the upper strut mounts. We're going to change the bearing. And we're also going to do, we may not do rotors. I got them just in case. We may do them, we may not. We'll see. But we're going to do dustless brake pads. I got the little brake hangers. I got to remember to grab those. And so it'll have low dust. And what was the other thing we're going to do? That's it?
I think that's it. I'm looking forward to seeing how the dustless brake pads do.
Yeah.
Because if they look good, I'm changing mine out.
That's right. We'll do your car next.
Yep.
We'll probably never do that. So,
my guinea pig here.
So I'm the guinea pig. So we're going to get to work. I'll talk over the video later so we can expedite this because it's Sunday and Larry has things to do. So we're just going to start taking this thing apart. We'll record everything and we'll show you. This is also going to help you if you've never installed the H&R springs or iBox springs. It's probably the same procedure on this car. We're going to show you how to change the spring without taking the strut out of the front. It's a piece of cake. All right, we're going to start on the right-hand wheel because it's probably the easiest one. Oh, one more thing. We're going to start a podcast called Puerto Rican and Pelon. If you want to hear our podcast, it's going to be about everything. Porsche stuff, Formula One, MotoGP, Ducati, your mama, whatever. So if you want to hear that, comment below what you want to hear.
We might even do an episode on hair plugs. Stay tuned.
You see how quick I put Larry to work? That's what I do. One thing I want to show you guys is that it's going to stop you from lowering that. You got to loosen the screws in this lower part, in this lower arrow piece under the car. If you don't loosen those screws, it's going to stop your control arms from coming down. You'd be surprised how strong this plastic is, that it can stop all that weight from coming down as far as you need it to come down. So I'm going to start working on that.
All right. Oh, it's not that kind of film.
Wrong kind of film. Sorry about that. Good thing I didn't go commando today. So this is the passenger side. So we remove these three screws and flex that, Larry. See how much flex you have now? So the control arm can easily come down. Hey, real quick, let me stop the video right here. We were having so much fun when we made that video and joking and stuff that there was two things that we did. We forgot to record it. We forgot to even talk about it, but we did do it. Was disconnect the sway bar link and loosen the mounting bolts or nut and bolt for the lower control arm on the inside. I'm going to put a screenshot right here of what I'm talking about with little arrows. And so one side of the swing arm control arm, one side is a 16 millimeter, the nut side is an 18 millimeter. You just have to loosen the nut side, it's an 18 millimeter. You don't have to take it all the way off, you just break the torque on it and get it a little loose, and that will allow the control arm to move down. Also, as long as you disconnect your swing arm link. Sway bar link. Oh my God, I can't speak. So once you have those two disconnected and you do what we did in the video, this will work. When you go to re-tighten that nut, the 18 millimeter nut on the lower control arm, you need to have tension on it. So compress your strut using a floor jack is how we did it. Compress your strut and then tighten that 18 millimeter nut. If you don't tighten that 18 millimeter nut with the suspension compressed or with a load on it, you could damage that bushing. So that's all I wanted to add. Now back to the video. As we move those three, only this one here where the front joins the middle, and then just the middle screws going across to the driver's side. And same thing on the driver's side, the three on the driver's side. Now I'm not taking these all the way off because we need to get the top nut off. So if you can see the way it's aligned on my car, we can't get to it. But now with these loosened, you can just push it into the position and get it off. So that's what we're gonna do. Say that again, Larry. What are we gonna do here?
Well, we're going to compress the spring,
Which is soft enough you can do it by hand.
soft enough to do by hand, and then get Alberto to get up in there and pull off the
strut cap.
But you know, first we got that nut that we got to pull off the PASM cable.
Oh, you didn't get it off.
Nope.
All right, so the nut is loose. We broke it loose with the impact, and now we're gonna pull the nut off and pull, basically separate the top from everything that's on top of the spring, and then the spring will come right out. So what we did is we put the hand tight the 3 bolts to hold the upper strut mount back up, pulled the PASM cable through. Larry, because he's super strong, is compressing the spring and pulled the shaft of the shock out. There we go. And so now you can see we can swing the shock out of the way. You can pull off your bearing, and the upper strut mount, once it take the 3 bolts off, it'll come right off. At this point, if you were going to install springs, your factory spring, you could just lift this literally out and over the top of that shaft.
Yep.
And then just put the spring on. So now we're going to install the pieces that we were missing and replace some pieces. So what did we pull out of there? Show what we pulled out of there.
So we pulled the bearing with the rubber boot here. The boot just slips off the top.
Yep.
And the bearing, it looks like it's one piece, but it does come out. This is the bearing, and this is just a mounting surface.
Just a mount, and this is the new bearing. Obviously in much better nick, as the English would say. And we'll just put all that back together. Bam, and that goes back in your, that fits on the bottom of the strut mount.
Yep.
Strut mount, we're gonna pull off and look at it in a second. I'm pretty and we have new ones.
Excellent.
So
wow.
We'll pull that off in a second. First thing we're gonna do is, what we're gonna do with that, Larry?
Yeah, so this is just to cushion the spring, the rings of the spring. When they compress, they'll knock together. Unfortunately, due to supply chain issues, according to H&R, it did not come with the rubber bushing this time, or the rubber, whatever you want to call this.
Yeah, so they had to mail this to me separate from the springs after we installed the springs. So that's why we're doing this all over again.
Quality control problem? Maybe.
So, and you can see, before Larry puts this on there, there's been some rubbing right here.
Absolutely.
It's been hitting each other. So that's going to be our target area where we're going to put this.
And that's the knocking that you're hearing when you're hitting bumps.
And please ignore the vice grip. It's not there.
Yes, right.
It's a figment of your imagination. That is, we are not Porsche technicians by trade.
Really close, but not quite.
So we got the new strut mount in. Forgot my light, but sorry. New strut mounts on, new bump stops on, new bearing is on. Everything's hand tight right now. Larry is aligning.
You gonna pump?
I'm gonna be the jack man. He's gonna. There's the PASM cable, and he's gonna align the shaft.
Okay.
Now, what were you thinking a minute ago, Larry?
Pump up the jack. Pump it up. Pump it up.
This is why we can't get anything done. We're here all week. We do events, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, whatever you want. So we left the spring sleeve off until we had this all bolted back together. It's not torqued, but it's bolted together. And we compressed the suspension so we could see exactly where the coils are touching and where we're going to put the spring sleeve. So that's, if you look at it there, it's pretty obvious where those spring sleeves need to go. And that's exactly where we're going to put them. So now we're going to let this back down, hold this, and you can see it expand, and we know exactly where we're putting it. Where's our start point? Right past the Germany.
Yep.
All right. There we go. Got it. So made in Germany is actually being rubbed off.
Yeah.
So is it really made in Germany? Because I got these from Bellingham, Washington.
If it came from Germany, you sure as hell had the sleeves on it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Maybe H&R Springs headquarters come to Germany. Easiest job so far. Literally took us 3 seconds. So now it has a sleeve, so the coils don't hit each other, or when they do, they're not rubbing each other raw. You know, some people like to rub each other raw.
Uh-oh.
Not our coils.
All right, and we are going to go ahead and change out the rotors at the same time.
Right.
And now the fun of trying to get the brake sensors out of there.
Sensor out. I used Porsche tool 952357-45891224. The Germans.
Also great for getting splinters out.
Splinters, those long little pesky hairs. So what I did is I just compressed these two together, squeezed it, and just started working it. Oh, my little. Got it to that point. See where it's hanging up? Tiny, tiny screwdriver. Bam.
Nice.
It's out.
Well done.
No broken sensor. I'm a professional something. Okay, as you can see Pelon's face of disappointment. Now sexy pose. We still have the original brakes on. Why do we have the original brakes on, Larry?
Well, because the place we ordered them from decided to send us the rear version instead of the front.
That's right.
They don't fit properly.
So they don't fit. So we were not going to risk putting rear brake pads on front brake pads. And if we're not going to put on new brake pads, why put on new brake rotors? These rotors are perfectly fine. They're perfectly thick. They're almost as thick as the new ones. You got plenty of life left. So we just put it all back together. And we will contact the place we got it from and say, can we get the correct brake pads? And if it becomes supply chain issues, then I guess we're not going to get brakes done.
The interesting thing was, they could have been installed. So if you didn't know, if you hadn't done brakes before on these cars, you might not have caught it. So yeah,
the alignment pins all fit.
Yep.
But there was a lot of play up and down.
Yep.
So just imagine you're going spiritedly and you hit the brakes, then all your trust is on that one single pin.
That's right.
And if that breaks, you're up shit creek without a paddle.
This is true.
So we're all done now. We've got the car lifted up as high as it'll go so that we can get underneath, button up those screws to the plastic arrow stuff underneath, and put the wheels on. And then we're going to go for a ride. So we've got, to recap, we've got new strut mount, new strut bearing, new bump stop, sleeves on the springs so they don't rub each other raw. Oh, thank you. And original brakes. So this is Larry El Pelon.
Pelon.
Alberto the Puerto Rican. Catch you later.